Yeah, I'm very, very happy as well, Lee. It's a transitional year in that quite a few new players, but it should be very, very exciting.
The fans have seen you go round, of course, but tell us a little bit about yourself, your background in brief terms.
Originally, I'm from San Francisco. I was born and raised there, and I played 2 years at a junior college in San Francisco before transferring to Cal State Bakersfield, which is about an hour and a half drive north of Los Angeles. I majored in communications, and upon leaving there, I played on a semi-pro team, which was in Reno, owned by one of the professional teams in America. And at that point, the choice came to either come out here to Australia or go play in the Philippines. And through an agent in America, I decided to come to Australia.
Have you ever regretted it?
Not at all, Lee. I'm very happy here, and I'm naturalized now. And, you know, Australia's my home.
Right. Tell us about your Australian experience in basketball.
Well, my first year I played with the Adelaide 36ers. I averaged about 25, 26 points a game there. And then my last 2 years I've played with the Geelong Cats. 2 successful years with very talented players. Of course, we didn't win the big one, but you know, I'm looking forward to playing with the NIB Falcons this year because, as I said, it is a transitional year, but with the nucleus of players that have been recruited and are coming, it should be very, very exciting.
We used to wait expectantly for the Geelong Cats to turn up, knowing full well you were going to give us a hard game, or maybe even, and you did a couple of times of hiding up here. So we'll be looking for you in the right colours this time.
Yeah, it'll be very, very exciting. I'll be looking forward to playing against them and, of course, the other teams as well. I think it's going to be a very, very big year in basketball.
The 36 semi-finalists arrived at the NBN studios a short time ago to hear the judges' selection of the 13 athletes who have been chosen to take part in the final of the Sports Star Awards. It will be televised live from the Belmont 16-foot sailing club on the 18th of this month. The finalists are Australian single surf ski champion Chris Bond, Donna Proctor, a world-ranked swimmer and Commonwealth Games prospect, 4 times Australian beach flags champion Michael Jones, Faye Craig, who teamed with Merle Richardson to take out the World Pairs Lawn Bowls, and tennis sensation Peter Doohan. Also included are cricketer Bob Holland, world windsurfing champion Bruce Wiley, Australian weightlifting champion Greg Hayman, and Debbie Pugh, who finished second in the World Barefoot Water Ski Championships. Middle and long distance professional runner Glenn Ritchie, Robert Thompson, the jockey who rode the most winners in Australia during the last season, Gary Brunnages, World 505 champion, and motorcyclist Chris Watson have also been selected as finalists. All 13 athletes are from the NBN viewing area and have made an outstanding contribution to their sport in 1985. Although the Christian Endeavour conventions have been held biannually for the past 41 years, this is the first time Newcastle has hosted the event. Organised by the Australian Christian Endeavour Union, the non-denominational convention aims to assist youth. Convention Chairman, the Reverend Alban Butteridge, says public rallies, study sessions and special electives provide young people with the chance to develop public speaking skills.
In the initial years, or their formative years of the spiritual life, it gives them a great opportunity to get confidence in standing, speaking publicly, preparing and presenting papers to people, and there's an interchange, of course, in these societies, discussions. It just brings young people out.
The Christian Endeavour Union has diminished over the years but is now enjoying new popularity. Why do you think this is the case?
Well, I think the tides come in and the tides go out. You know, sometimes these things come right to the zenith and then they recede, but Endeavour is coming back, I think, into its own. The churches have gone away and tried other various activities for youth, but now I feel leaning back again to this organisation, which I think is one of the finest we've ever had.
Riot representatives of the Nurses Association met with hospital board executives today over demands. These include the refusal to perform the duties of any other union members
2 out of the 6 operating theatres to remain closed, and 1 floor of outpatients to close every day and staff deployed to other areas. Branch President Viv Allenson says the outpatients ban in particular is one the board itself should have taken for patient safety rather than leaving the action to the Nurses Association. Association executive members and hospital representatives will meet with the Department of Health officers in Sydney tomorrow to discuss staffing levels and the bans.
A visit to the circus can be an exciting time for all, especially when the feature act is 15-year-old Gypsy Bugler. She's a high-wire artist, except Gypsy takes it one step further. The act is performed on stilts. Gypsy arrived in Australia from Germany with her family 3 months ago, and since then they've travelled with Silver's Circus. Her uncle Alphonse is also a well-known wire walker. The family act has performed across the world, touring with the different circuses. But today was a special day. Gypsy's successful attempt at the high-wire stilt walking act made her the youngest woman in the world to perform such a skill. Gypsy says her love for the circus started at a very young age.
I started practicing at 2 years old on the shoulders of my dad, and then I was 6 years till the first time I walked in the circus. I had 1 year to practice in the stilts, and I never thought I could do it. Till I put in mind, I have to do it.
With her family history steeped in the circus, Gypsy believes that she too will carry on the tradition.
I like the circus. We are 7th generation of the wire act, and I like it. I couldn't be a secretary or something like this.
I'm Janelle Provost. The clean-up and investigations have begun here at 104 Bull Street, Cooks Hill, after a fire that gutted one house and damaged the 2 alongside. Police strongly suspect arson.
Join Ray Deneen and Anna Manzoni for all the news tonight at 6.
When they set out 8 days ago, there were 3 riders. One dropped out with a broken down horse early on in the piece, and today 2 girls, 15-year-old Donna Rinken riding Buck and 17-year-old Leonie Gibson on Felix, marched into Newcastle Showground after their gruelling ride. It started out as just an idea for a different holiday activity, and then the girls decided on the charity angle. Their staple diet along the way consisted of meat pies and Vegemite sandwiches, and each day they rode for between 12 and 13 hours. The ride has so far netted $500 for the cancer appeal, and the girls are hopeful more money will come in now.
When there was excessive
Despite
physical
any
pain
physical
on the
traumas, the girls plan to do it again next year.
It was a long, hard trip. We didn't think it'd be as hard as what it was, but it came out a really good trip at the end. We're glad we're back in Newcastle.
And what were some of the memorable experiences?
Horses and cows going through our tent, ripping our tent, but we managed to sleep through that. Other than that, just stopping in at some of the different clubs and that, meeting different people. They were really nice towards us, really good.
And what was one of the hardest things about it?
The Barrington Tops was a long, hard trip up for the horses, especially the roads up there. And Madawi, it was a dirt road. It was really hot and bothered. That was the first day. We nearly gave up then.
So there was a time when you thought you may give up?
Yeah, the first day we didn't think we'd make it at all.
And from then on?
It was good. We really enjoyed ourselves. We're going to go again next year.
Wayne Harris had champion material written all over him when he was leading apprentice for 4 years and became the first apprentice to win the Golden Slipper in 1979. In the early 80s, tragedy struck, and after a succession of race falls, the young jockey was diagnosed with a brain tumour that kept him out of racing for a year. Many said he'd never ride again, but that only made him more determined than ever.
I think a lot of people told me that I'd never get back riding and I'd never be a success again, and I think I've always had a terrible great will to win, and I think that's helped me through it, and I tried to show everyone wrong when I knew that I was right and capable of coming back.
You're looking very well at the moment. Are you feeling as well as you look?
Yes, well, since it's been a little bit hotter and I've been working very hard, I've got my weight down to quite a reasonable level, and I've sort of kept myself pretty fit, and I think riding winners like I am at the moment keeps you pretty keen.
Harris is in fine touch at present and rode a winning treble at Randwick on Wednesday, including this win on Newcastle horse Storm Gypsy in the last race. The talented young jockey weighs in slightly heavier than most and starves himself regularly to get to race weight in most events. Despite his good form, Harris will turn his back on Sydney for the time being at least next month, when he honours a contract for Australian-born trainer John Moore in Hong Kong.
Whenever you're going away anywhere or something's going to happen, you'll have a good trot like this and you'll always wonder if you're doing the right thing. But I've had a few opportunities to go away before and knocked them back, and probably regret them later. But I'm going to probably the top stable in Hong Kong, so with the weights a little bit higher there, I think it will help me. And I've got to realise that I'm probably only getting half the rides because Quinton and Dippman are out of the way. So I've got to sort of, I think, take this job and try not to regret it.
Smoke from the Madawi blaze has been staining Newcastle's northern horizon since it began at about 1:30 yesterday afternoon. 24 hours later, and the fire had finally been contained by backburning operations in an area surrounded by the Pacific Highway, the Old Swan Bay Road and Main Road 581. Firemen say the blaze apparently began on the edge of the highway and was fanned through the bush by a northwesterly wind. At the height of the fire yesterday afternoon, 54 men from 3 brigades were needed to contain it. During the night and again this afternoon, the fire came too close for comfort to the house of the Murphy family near the Pacific Highway. However, no property was damaged. A squally southerly change due tonight should bring relief from the tinderbox heat, but may also fan some of the fires, particularly those in the Cessnock area. The fire control officer at Cessnock, Bob Kitching, says the fire danger has risen rapidly in the last week and can only get worse.
The star of the game was the Raymond Terrace batsman Marshall Soper, who got 128. Yes, it's the same Marshall Soper who is the reluctant soccer international and brother of the New South Wales indoor cricket captain Martin Soper. The Terrace finished with 6 down for 275. Ian Johns was best for Tech with 40 in a total of 9 wickets for 146. Not only are the Soper family big at the Terrace, but the Adam brothers Andrew and Simon took 3 for 43 and 4 for 25 respectively.
To see a man that goes down the sidelines for a try. Oh yeah, sure. Hey, I gotta tell you, that's a bad move. Okay. I wouldn't tell you lies either.
Gary Davis is now 37. He started playing drafts and chess when he was just 9 years old. Born in Canada, he now lives in Sydney, where he's a founding member of the Australian Chess Club. His first love is drafts, but after mastering the game, he ran out of opponents and decided to take up chess. He's a well-known figure on the Manly waterfront, where he was once employed by Manly Council as a tourist attraction. He says most people know how to move the pieces, but don't know how to play the game.
And they have never ever played in a chess club situation, and they've never ever played anybody that's any good, so they want to see what it's like, and that draws them in.
Do you ever get beaten?
Too often for my liking, But basically I lose, it seems lately I've been losing about 1 game of chess per day. That's out of say 40 or 50 games. And drafts, well, I virtually never lose. I've only ever lost 1 game in a situation like this.
Gary makes playing the game look easy, but it's fun. And if he beats you, he shows you where you went wrong. His display today at the Charlestown Shopping Square drew a large crowd of both onlookers and participators. Win or lose, it's a great chance to match wits against a formidable opponent, and it's free.
Hey, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Oh, Anna.
Last year, the question of children riding their push bikes on footpaths came to a head, and Cessnock City Council summons 8 young offenders, all aged between 14 and 17, and they all appeared in court. Their parents protested what they called unwarranted action for a minor offence. Now the NRMA wants the New South Wales Traffic Authority to consider making it legal for children under the age of 9 to ride on footpaths.
Well, we believe that most kids start to learn to ride bikes under the age of 9, and by the time they've reached that age, they have more traffic awareness, they're more streetwise.
70% of all cyclist accident victims reported to police are less than 20 years old. However, many accidents go unreported. Last year, 17 people died in push-bike accidents in this state, 2 in the Newcastle Police District. 9 were under the age suggested by the NRMA. The association also wants councils to help alleviate the problem by allowing shared footpath areas.
We believe that councils can play their part by introducing shared footpaths for pedestrians and cyclists in areas that perhaps aren't quite so busy. The areas that I wouldn't, including shared footpaths, would be busy shopping centres and places like that. But streets, usually quiet streets, there's no problems with kids using bikes in those areas, we believe.
It could have been a holiday in Europe, as holidaymakers at the Sandford Caravan Park at Anna Bay were entertained by a group of ethnic dancers. The performance was put on by the Newcastle Folkloric Dancing School. The school was holding a 2-week training camp at the park, and during one of the daily workout sessions, the park's owners realised their good fortune and asked the dancers to turn it on for the other guests. They agreed only too readily, and last night they performed mainly Yugoslavian dances. A healthy crowd turned out to watch the 12 dancers go through their paces. The group plan to go to the European Folkloric Festival later this year and are hoping that a sponsor will come forward to help them in a charitable gesture like theirs last night.
We've had a lot of inquiries at the advisory centre where students were very worried about the range of choices that they'd made for their university entry, and the advice that we've been giving at the advisory office is certainly not to panic. They should leave the choice of subjects exactly as they feel they ought to be, because if they miss out on their first choice, the university automatically goes to their second choice and offers them their second choice. Students shouldn't change their subject preference for any reason other than the change of their own preferences.
Newcastle demolition identity Bluey Waterhouse is on the job and hopes to have the 300 tonnes of scrap and recyclable steel in the structure completely cut up within the next 4 weeks. The gasometer was built in 1959 to store coal gas produced on the site by the Aberdare County Council and to pressurise its reticulated mains throughout Cessnock and Curry. When New Gas took over gas distribution a couple of years ago to sell natural gas, the Crown land was leased to a local businessman, John Jowett, who plans a light industrial estate for the 2-hectare site. Mr Jowett hopes to have the land completely cleared and okayed by the Pollution Control Commission within the next few months. While on the subject of gasometers, another of the Clyde Street Hamilton monoliths is now almost no more. This is the third to be demolished on the site of the original Newcastle gasworks. Only one small gasometer remains at Clyde Street, and it also will eventually be removed. Closer to the inner city, the Ravenshaw Street storage and pressurising vessel is also destined for the scrapyard, but no date has been set for a start. Natural gas doesn't require these old landmarks. It is pressurised at the wellhead, with regulators dropping the pressure to the required levels on various sections of the line.